Well, good day, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on which time zone you are in. And welcome to our fifth and last session of our webinar series for this month. So today we're going to be talking about electronic payments for Microsoft Dynamics GP. First, I'll introduce myself, Carol Darcy. I'm a senior manager here at Nolan and solution specialist, and I'll be walking you through our electronic payment solution today. We'll cover, our presentation is going to cover a few slides and include also a product demo. As I go through my presentation, should you have any questions, something you would like me to address, I will keep a little bit of time at the end for a Q&A session. Live with one of our coworker, Derek or Dylan will jump on the call and help me out. So feel free to document your questions in the question area of the meeting console, and we will be happy to address those at the end. So I'm going to start just a bit of a refresher. Some of you might have already heard this this little spiel, but we'll go through it quickly again. Who's Nolan Business Solution as an organization? So we've been developing and supporting the Microsoft Dynamics GP platform for well over 20 years now, developing products as well as supporting implementations. As a Microsoft partner, we are a gold certified in enterprise resource planning and silver certified with data analytics. We have world offices worldwide and clients worldwide as well. Physical office in Boulder, Colorado, here in the US. Also have offices in the United Kingdom and support for our Australian market. As I mentioned before, developing and supporting application for the Dynamics GP platform for well over 20 years. Our add-on solutions include an intercompany series that is a combination of 3 modules: intercompany postings, intercompany AR for cash receipts, and intercompany pop to stop to help address various intercompany accounting requirements organization might have out there. We also have certainly an expertise in the area of cash management, including the development of an advanced bank reconciliation module, and what will be the focus of our discussion today, our vendor electronic payments. So when we talk about Nolan's electronic payment, there's really kind of 3 keywords that I want to drive home here today. So we are an integrated solution. We're fully integrated into the Dynamics GP platform. To the extent where we're extending the functionality available with the current EFT module, and our own process is incorporated into the current Dynamics GP check printing and EFT payables process. So as I go through our demo and a little bit later, you'll see that it's very easy to use software and leverages all the existing EFT fields in combination with some additional custom fields that can also be leveraged for the enhanced functionality required sometimes for international payments. So as I mentioned, simple to use from an end user standpoint and data input. It only requires the user to enter some basic bank account details, both at the checkbook and the vendor level. And through our file format definition, we handle all the bank file specification requirements. Also flexible, so what we really differentiate ourselves from the Dynamics EFT payable module is really about the flexibility of our file format definition with the ability to create very user-definable file formats to help support the various international vendor payment requirements. SEPA compliance is something we're very comfortable with, and a format that is readily available out of the box. The SEPA format is in compliance with the XML Payne version 3. So using that as a base, we also have the ability to support a lot of international vendor payments requirements to address international country-specific requirements as well. So as I mentioned before, we really sort of incorporate our process into the regular process in GP. So it all starts with capturing the vendor bank details on the vendor maintenance screen, entering your vendor invoices that process in itself is not impacted. You can continue entering your vendor invoices in GP the simple way that you're doing today. At the time of creating vendor payments, you proceed with building and transferring a payment batch so that we can create a subset of a payment batch that will be paid electronically. We proceed with processing and posting the payment batch, which will automatically generate the electronic payment file that can then be uploaded to your bank portal. If desired, one can proceed with the standard GP email vendor remittance process as a post-payment process as well. So let's demonstrate that in our GP environment. So we're going to switch to GP here. So I'm going to start by showing a couple data input screens, starting with the checkbook maintenance. So when we look at an electronic fund transfer, there's two parties involved in the transaction, obviously. So in terms of as an organization, so as the party that is initiating the payment, all that detail is kept at the checkbook level. So I've got a checkbook for euro payments here. So this is my euro paying account as an example. So we're going to specifically use a SEPA payment type scenario today. So we got a SEPA European checkbook. We can capture some bank account information on the main screen. Would typically be more where you capture bank information for domestic payments here in the US as an example. We can leverage our EFT fields to track some additional requirements at the international level, including BIC and IBAN and that type of information. And what is nice with the Nolan tool is that we can also build and track additional user-defined fields. So sometimes what we encounter, we'll take a look at the bank file specification, and they're going to have very specific requirements that might be related to your specific relationship with the bank or where you're trying to transmit the fund. So we have a combination of user-defined fields for the checkbook, as well as we're going to see it on the vendor card. So if there's any specific additional requirements, this is essentially what allows us to do that. It's going to have this set of additional fields that we can source into our file format. So as an example, specifically today, just for demonstration purposes, my company BIC and IBAN will be tracking here. And again, just entering a little bit of fake numbers, but our file format would be sourcing our company's BIC and IBAN detail from this window. So we're going to go ahead and close that. Now let's look at the vendor side of things. So the other side, the receiving party. So on the vendor maintenance screen, all we've done is we've added a little checkbox. So we're going to look at our friends at ABC Company. We have a little checkbox at the bottom that is essentially what activates a vendor record or identifies a vendor as a record that we want to pay electronically. Typically, the EFT information will reside along with the vendor address information under the EFT bank. We have the ability to source that information. So if you already have that information available in your GP environment, we can simply point the file formats to the fields that are already in use. If there are some additional country-specific or bank-specific requirements, again, that would warrant capture into some user-defined field, we also have the ability to do that right on our vendor record as well. So if we go to additional user-defined fields, is where we would also see a number of additional user-defined fields. So we could be tracking additional information that is required. Sometimes we see things like Asian countries will have very, very specific requirements. We tend to track that information separately. So anything that's international, we like to sort of track a little bit separately sometimes. So with that flexibility in mind, we're actually going to pay a couple vendors here. So I'm going to start, you will see that our whole procedures are really embedded into the standard GP process. So what that means for your team is that they can just incorporate very easily incorporate electronic payment into the current process that you might have today. Perhaps today you primarily print checks in-house, are wanting to move to a more electronic way of paying your vendors. So as you transition you can still kind of use the same AP process, but you'll see you have the ability to split batches into those that are going to be paid via check versus those that are paid via electronic payment. So it really helps kind of that transition from in-house check printing to electronic payments of vendors. So we're going to select our payment batch here. So as my as the account payable person, I can use this. I can build a batch, obviously, through a number of selection criteria, but for simplification purposes here today, we're just going to select a couple vendors that we want to pay. ABC Company is the one that we were demonstrating a minute ago. So we do have a couple invoices that are due for ABC Company. So we're going to proceed with paying those 2 euro invoices. Maybe I'll just add another one just for the sake of demonstrating the ability to pay multiple vendors into one batch, regardless of the payment method. So we have currently 2 vendors in here that we want to pay for a total of 9.95 euro. Now we're going to proceed with printing those payments. Actually, before we print the payments, if you remember, I just kind of mentioned that we need to split the batch between the payments that are going to be processed in-house for checks and the ACH payments. So that's the one step that the Nolan procedure introduces in the middle here. So there is a step that will see us pull up the overall payment batch that we created and transfer from that batch any vendors that have been flagged for electronic payment. So we're going to go ahead and do that so we can see that we got a transfer out of that batch of 1 payment. So that would be ABC Company, most likely because the other vendor is not set up for electronic payment. So it's going to remain into its own batch, and we can proceed with whatever other payment process we might follow for that. But for our electronic payment, we're going to proceed now with generating our payment file. So we still leverage the print payment process. We can call out the split batch, and we can click on the print button. Essentially, I mean, it's print, but what we're doing is generating creating our payments, first of all. So that's what, in essence, we created here just on the screen. And at this stage now, once we've created the bill payments, then we can post, which will include the generation of a bank file at the same time. So basically at the end of actually posting our payments, we have our payment file created into the specified location on my desktop in this case. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this file over here, open it in TextPad. For those of you in this specific case, I'm showing an XML file, which is very typical for international payment. I think that's really where we can shine, is in the arena of helping with international payment files. So this XML file here, specifically formatted for Chase JP Morgan, is based on our XML Payne version 3. And which we support. And for those of you that might be familiar with this, I mean, typically you're going to have a bit of a header section with a group header. We're going to have the initiating party information. So all of that information is sourced directly from the GP cards. And we're also going to have the information for the person that we are paying, the debtor as well. So this file at this point in time is ready for download and upload into your bank portal, where the bank can proceed with doing the payments. And if you would like, you can now proceed with printing your payable remittance. So it's going to complete the processing over here. And we just simply piggyback again on the GP remittance process. So this is not a Nolan specific process, but you could just proceed with the printing of your payable remittance. So however you might have that set up. If you do not have that set up because you're strictly printing checks, it's a very simple GP standard functionality that allows you to assign even email addresses to your vendors, so that at the end of this process, you can email remittances to your vendors for everybody that was included in your payment batch. So essentially, what I hope I sort of demonstrated is the enhanced functionality of our module that can help you save, obviously, time and money when we think about supporting both domestic and international payments. I mentioned the ability to have user-definable file formats, so we can typically review your bank's file specification, determine what's required, what adjustments are required to some of the base formats that we have available. Allowing us to be SEPA compliant in Europe, allowing us to support the XML Paint version 3 as well. And truly, with our tool, you can experience greater AP efficiency by streamlining your vendor payment process, especially if what you're doing today is strictly paying payments via in-house checks. The goal is to eliminate the overhead associated with the check payments. And what the bottom line truly here is to help you enhance the cash flow, your cash flow forecast, because now you're a little bit more in control as to when that payment will actually process through your bank account. So that is in essence what our module can do. And if you have any specific questions that you've had an opportunity to type in our chat box, I will open it up for live Q&A now.
Hey,
Derek,
Carol.
do we have anything? Hello.
We do. So the first question is, if we have Nolan for a particular task, example, intercompany posting, do to, do from, will we have access to the other features? We are in the process of implementing Dynamics, so have not started using it yet.
I'm assuming we're making reference to whether the module is or this functionality we're discussing is included with intercompany is kind of what I'm reading. Let me know if you're reading something different, Derek. But the answer to that, the electronic payment is a separate module. So if you are already implementing our intercompany module, that would be separate. But we're happy to, I mean, if there's additional module that you would be interested in, that's where our sales team comes into play, and we'd be happy to discuss costing associated with adding this module to your bundles.
Absolutely. I think part of it too, Carol, maybe asking if they use our solution, will they have access to like other features with within standard GP maybe? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if if the person asking the question can kind of clarify a little bit what they mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll
sure.
And in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, we did have another question come up around, are we able to support Asian countries? And also, if there's multi-currency, does that work?
Perfect, great question. Yeah, so for the most part, I mean, I can't offer any sort of guarantee on this call that we can support payment to the Asian countries or any countries. It is going to be a little bit dependent on the bank that you are working with. But in our experience, having a good understanding of what's required in some of those Asian countries, which they do have actually very specific requirements, sometimes additional bank identifiers required in the file. So we can review your bank file specification, and it is likely, hopefully on an XML file, that we can support those requirements. And certainly multi-currency is also a component that we are familiar with and that would be supported through our tool.
Oh, perfect. All right, got another couple have come in here. So one, you'd mentioned JPMorgan Chase, which is their bank. Do you have a specific file formats for each bank?
No, so what we do is we have a base format based on the international setting associated with the ISO, I can never say which, the ISO standard version 3. requirements, and most banks, the base, when you look at their file specification document, their base format is always going to be based on the same structure. But believe it or not, even though we're saying that this, XML Paint version 3 is standard, each bank will have a slight variation of it. So we typically review that file specification requirement, and we can do the adaptation to the base format that we have that are specific to your bank. So we don't necessarily, what I'm trying to say is we don't deliver with each module purchase a bank specific format, but it's more along the lines of the basic XML version 3 format that can be adapted to any bank's requirements, if that makes sense.
I think that makes sense. And I did get some clarification, and I can actually answer this one for you, Carol. But it was the original question there was around if they had purchased the intercompany posting, if they get access to all the modules are included, or are they only available individually? So I can answer that. If you purchase intercompany, it doesn't come with the electronic payments. However, we do offer a bundle discounts if you purchase them at the same time. So we can follow up and help answer that a little bit better, more specifically around each product. So yeah.
Perfect.
And that is looking like it for the time being.
Perfect. So thanks everyone for joining our session today. It was a little bit more straightforward than some of the other ones we've done, just kind of relating to the simplicity of this module, just really helping you enhance the current electronic payment capabilities of GP in the area of international payments. So if you find yourself needing some assistance with that, I think we're a perfect fit. From our info or scheduling a more demo that might be more specific to your needs, feel free to visit our website, contact our sales team via email or phone number, as you can see on the screen. So I want to thank everyone for participating today and throughout our series in the month of June, and look for any new series, most likely in the fall. We'll talk to you soon.